What's up, YouTube, man? I got a long video for you guys today. I am going to be breaking down the best center builds in NBA 2K21, and I'm going to be giving you guys the top 5, how to make them, best badges, all that good stuff, but I'm actually going to be talking about every pie chart, every big man. As you guys know, if you're the first time to my channel, I make all kinds of builds. I had 10 builds last year in NBA 2K20. I play point guard, lockdown, big man, post scorer. I do everything. So I know a little bit about builds and pie charts. I'm not somebody that just plays on one build and, you know, I'm just kind of guessing. I know a bit about all of this. So let's get started. So the first one, the pure blue pie chart. And you could be a center or a power forward. Most of these you want to make power forward for, you know, you want the better speed. You don't need to be 7'3". That is a thing of the past. But if you were going to make a build that was 7'3", the pure blue is what you would want to do for 7'3". And that's because this is a pure post score build. As you see the finishing, this build cannot be stopped on the inside. Now the reason it's not on the top 5 is because it's a great scoring on the inside, but it can't shoot. The defense isn't going to be as good as builds with Hall of Fame defense, and it doesn't have any playmaking. So it's very, you know, it's very one-sided. You know, one scored, it's amazing, but it's not going to be great on the threes, rec, Mike, you know, anything where you have teammates that need to get involved. Now, something like the blue and yellow pie chart, I mean, you can get contact dunks, you get Hall of Fame playmaking, but why not just make this one right here, the red and yellow, where you get Hall of Fame defense, Hall of Fame playmaking, and you can still get contact dunks. So that kind of narrows that one down. And then, so with the pie charts, with like a pure stretch, a playmaking stretch, anything with shooting, yellow, you know, no Hall of Fame defense on those builds, it's going to struggle against good inside centers. And if you ever play anybody good and you're at the center with that build, they're just going to dog you on the rebounds. They're going to dunk all over you. You just won't be able to play defense. But if you want to stretch the floor and you have a good, you know, you got a good system, a lot of these builds, like a post scorer, like a stretch, like a playmaking stretch, you have to have a team built around you. The top 5 builds on the list are going to be builds that, you know, they have purpose on offense. They can do multiple things, and it kind of is easier to play with randoms with them. You know, Atlanta, pure yellow, let me break this down really quick. This is a good build last year because you could get pro dribble moves, you could shoot with a 67-3, you could still finish and play defense, but this year it's terrible because you can't actually dribble until you get 85 ball control. You won't be able to shoot with it. The only thing you'll be able to do is play make. And, you know, what good's a center that can't rebound, that can't shoot, and can't finish? So breaking all those down, and if you guys want me to make like a video like this with like the best post score builds, the best, you know, scoring builds, anything like that, let me know in the comments. And if you guys have any questions about any pie chart for a center, let me know in the comments. I will get back to every comment and break it down. But for the first pie chart, you want to go with the more finishing, the Hall of Fame finishing and the Hall of Fame shooting. This is going to be number 5 on the centers list. You see, you can do driving layup, driving dunk, standing dunk, post hook, mid-range 3-point post fade. And of course, this isn't a normal build video, so I'm going to try to be kind of fast. If you guys need to pause it and slow it down, definitely do that. And yeah, man. But 16, 16, 10, and 1. And then with the rest of the attributes, you can add them to the shooting. I mean, you can add them to the finishing. It's wherever you want one more badge on. It does not really matter. It's personal preference. But this kind of gives you a good balance. I mean, you'll be able to, you know, finish with this build. You'll be able to shoot with this build. And the defense is decent. I'm going to tell you guys now, any center build that doesn't have Hall of Fame defense is going to be at a bit of a disadvantage because, you know, builds with Hall of Fame defense and rebounding, they're going to get more rebounds. They're going to be able to get more contact dunks. Not contact dunks. They're going to be able to stop people from getting contact dunks. Having Hall of Fame defense is so big, especially on a game where there's a lot of sliding in NBA 2K21. So you usually want all the defensive badges and attributes you can get. But breaking this down, and you see I'm just kind of doing things, you know, it doesn't make sense to take away lateral and perimeter. I know some people would say, what do I need perimeter defense on a center for? What do I need lateral quickness on a center for? Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to help your guard every once in a while. I know, you know, some people like to play high-low, but if you're playing a play shot in a pure red paint beast, and they're just fading and greening and hitting whites, you're going to have to help the guard eventually, or the play shot's going to get takeover and just score 21 points all easy. The guard, it's tough to get through screens. Now, at the height with this build, if you were just making this for the 1v1, I would say 7 foot, you know, just to bully people on the 1v1. But if you're trying to play everything 1s, 2s, 5s, 3s, and then 6'10" is the perfect spot. With the weight, you can kind of go up to, you get that 75 interior defense. You see the strength's pretty decent, the speed. And with the wingspan, of course, you're going to want that max. That's going to help your driving dunk, your standing dunk, and help you play better defense. And as you can see with the stats so far, I mean, you're going to be able to drive and dunk. You're going to be able to standing dunk. You're going to be able to post hook. That's a lot of offense right there. Shooting, you're going to be able to pick and roll. You're going to be able to pick and pop. You're going to be able to just space the floor, you know, stand in the corner, stand at the hash. You do get Hall of Fame finishing badges, so you will have Hall of Fame range extender. And with a 92 wingspan, your rebounding, your block, it's not going to be the best. The top 4 centers above this build, they all have Hall of Fame defense, so the rebounding is going to be a lot better. But you'll still be able to play decent defense, decent rebounding, and survive. Interior defense is pretty easy this year, but perimeter defense is where this build is going to struggle a little bit. So you got to have some skill on the sticks if you really want to be a good defender with this build. And, I mean, in general, you want to be a skilled player if you make this. Because, yes, you could pick and roll, you could pick and pop, you could shoot, space in the floor. But you only have a 70 midi and a 67 3. 17 shooting badges, they can get a bunch of Hall of Fame badges. That's going to help, but you're still going to have skill to finish the shots, green them to get the perfect release. And with the finishing, you're only 6'10". If you were a 7'3" post scorer, it'd be a lot easier to get the post hooks off, to get dunks off, and not dunks, but to get standing dunks and stuff. But since you're 6'10", you're gonna have to choose your spots wisely. A 90 post hook, you could still post fade from the post hook from the free throw line easily, and you could post fade with this build. But it's not gonna be like close your eyes, point the stick toward the hoop, and go in every time like some 7'3" post scorers do. Now with the badges, I don't want to go too far into it because, like I said, this video, it's already going to be pretty long. If you need to pause the video, you need to pause the video and copy down the badges, go for it. If you want to make one of these builds and you want to ask me in the comments what badge you should have, just do that. I will get back to you guys for sure. But one thing, flexible release, I have been sleeping on that badge. Come to find out, it's actually really nice this year for slightly lates and slightly earlies. Last year, it was only lates and earlies. This year, you actually get a significant boost if you get slightly later, slightly early. So you definitely want to throw that on, especially on a build that doesn't have as high as a three-pointer as, say, like a playmaking shot creator or a pure sharp. And like I said, you'll want some rebound chaser, you'll want some rim protector. This build is going to play good paint defense, but it's just not going to be as mobile. Lobs are already tough to stop, so sometimes, you're going to have a paint beast dunk all over you. It's going to upset you, but it's just the way it is. And with the takeover, I chose post scorer because you can really be like a secondary scoring option with the post scoring takeover on this. If you're picking and popping, if you're picking and rolling, you're getting some shots, you're getting some layups, boom, you have a post scoring takeover, and then now you could really just bully the other big men. But with the fourth option, this is going to be a sleeper pick. It's going to be the red-yellow pie chart, Hall of Fame defense and Hall of Fame playmaking. And a lot of people aren't going to think this is a good build because they're like, what do I need Hall of Fame playmaking for on a center? All I'm going to be doing is getting rebounds, rolling to the rim, yada, yada, yada. But having Hall of Fame floor general for your point guard, having Hall of Fame dimer for your point guard, I mean, we've all played with a point guard that they're usually pretty good, but one game they're just missing everything, and, you're like, well, what the, he went 5 for 5 the last game, boom, he went 1 for 8 this game. That's going to help, it's basically going to help reduce that. Having quick first step Hall of Fame is going to be a big difference as well. And as you can see, you want to upgrade all the defense except the steal. That's going to give you 21 defensive and rebounding. Upgrade all the playmaking. That's going to give you the 19 playmaking. And with the finishing, you want close shot, driving layup, driving dunk, and standing dunk. Now, you could do shooting with this build, but you have to be an elite player to be able to hit with these lower shooting, ratings. And you can get a decent amount of badges, but a lot of people are just going to play with playmaking shot creators that like to take every shot anyway, so why not just make yourself great at defense, great at playmaking, and great at finishing. Now, you do want to go 6'7" on this build. That is kind of small, I know, for the park, and you may struggle every time you go against a 7'3" center every once in a while, but don't think of this build as like a true, back to the basket big. This is kind of like a Draymond Green build, like a Giannis kind of defensive kind of build. You see with the max wingspan, you do get the 81 driving dunk. That is going to give you the ability to get contact dunks at 99 because you get +4. That's going to be an 85. The standing dunk is super high. You're going to be able to get all those Shaq, Dwight Howard, all those good dunk packages. And driving layups is 72, so you will be able to get a long athlete layup. So you can hit people with hop steps. You see the defense. It's high from everything from interior to perimeter, and the playmaking is going to be super high. You see all the takeover options. The best option really is glass cleaning takeover. You're going to be a 6'7", little big man, Zion Williams, some snagging on people. And just take a look at all of these, attributes at the end. It's just really crazy to think about that this build doesn't have any finishing in it, yet you get contact dunks. This build has a 76 ball handle. For somebody that's playing the center, you're going to be so much faster than centers going against you. They're not going to expect it. If you can really learn how to use the triple threat, to use your quick first step, when the guard gives you the ball, pass fake, the big's going to run over to him. If he's dexting, you'll be able to get wide open layups every time. And like I said, 81 rebound, 74 offensive rebound. It's not the best rebounder in the game, but with glass takeover, with Hall of Fame rebounding badges, you know, you're going to get your fair share of rebounds. Now, with the finishing badges, you know, you only get gold, but you'll still be able to get contact dunks. If you really want to be a scorer with this build, you could definitely go slashing takeover. It really just depends, you know, if you want to be more of an offensive option, or if you just want to really focus on defense and playmaking. And as you saw, you know, Floor General, Dimer, Quick First Step. That Floor General Hall of Fame will give you the ability to see, too, how good of shooter people are. I know there's a lot of build names, and, you know, being able to see if someone has a 0% chance of shooting somewhere, and, you know, like maybe someone's like a playmaker, but they're really like have Hall of Fame shooting. It's all kinds of weird. But you see, you can do so many things with the defensive and rebounding badges. In 22, 19, and 11, that is going to be at number 4. Now, the last 3, these are more of the common big men builds that you see, and the reason they're more common is because, you know, they're the best. It is what it is, you know. People copy YouTubers' videos. YouTubers make the best builds. People find the best builds. You're just going to see a lot of these builds in the park. Now, with number 3, this is the only one on the top 5 list that is going to be a shooting big, and of course, as you guys know, it's going to be the Hall of Fame defense, Hall of Fame shooting. With the physical profile, you know, strength is not important this year. Everyone's ignoring it. It's only important if someone's really trying to back you down, and the only time that happens is if you're playing a post score, which is not a popular build in the park. Now, if you're going to play the 1v1 court, of course, you don't want to have a low strength. That's obvious. But strength in the park, playing 2s, playing 3s, you know, even rec and pro-am to an extent, it's not as important. You see what I did with the shooting, what I did with the defense, and you actually get really good finishing on this build as well. You see 20, 19, 8. This is going to give you the ability to get good driving dunk animations, good driving layups. Once you hit 99, you get 70 driving layup for the, you know, the long athlete. The defense, you know, you're 6'9", so most people are making their builds 6'8" and 6'7", so you are going to be a bit taller, and that's going to help, you know, especially with the vertical on this build. It is decently high. There's not really any weakness on this build except with the playmaking, you know. And this build, you should never be dribbling anyway. It would, you know, it's too bad you don't have quick first step gold, but you just have to give up too much finishing. You have to give up too much badges, you know, defense, shooting, anywhere to actually make it worth it. And you see with the 91 wingspan, you can get a really high, honestly, a super high rebounding and offensive rebounding. You see you're called a glass cleaner. A lot of people are not going to guard you whenever they see that name. You're going to get a couple shots. And if you are elite with shooting, if your point guard's got Dimer, Floor General, it's definitely going to be automatic. And see, look, 89 rebounding, a 90 block. Interior defense is high. Perimeter defensive lateral, you know, 68, 68. It's going to be 70s whenever you get to the 99. This build can do good. It can guard the paint. It can hedge. You know, if somebody's playing too high, you can drive past them and get a nice driving dunk. You get park dunks on this build. Shooting 67-3. I know you're worried about that. But if you got hot zones, like I said, if you got Dimer, you got Hall of Fame shooting badges, you will be able to be efficient shooting with this build. And really, this build fits in the best out of any build on NBA 2K20 if you're trying to be a big man. Because if you play with a build that's like a play shot, you can let him fade. You can basically play inside. You got standing dunks. You got driving dunks. There, you don't really even have to shoot. Say you're playing with a build that's like a two-way slicer playmaker, and they didn't get the memo that they're not that good this year, and you know, they can't shoot, so they need to paint. You can pop out every time you get pick and pop. You can just stand in the corner. You can stand at the hash. You can really, and then if you have somebody that can do both, say like a pure playmaker or a playmaking shot creator that can drive, and then you got the option of pick and roll, pick and pop, ISO. You can throw different looks at people, and normal defenders are going to struggle with that. I can't lie. Especially a lot of these paint beasts, you know, glass cleaning finishers, they're used to just guarding the interior. If they have to guard the pops, if they have to guard the outside, they are going to have a super tough time, and they're going to give up a lot of open middies and threes. With number 2, and, you know, this is getting to the more common phase. It's going to be the Hall of Fame finishing, Hall of Fame defense. I mean, what more is there to say? A lot of people want their center to be able to dominate the paint on offense and defense. That's what this build can do, and it's going to be super quick. You see, you can go with the speed and the vertical, physicals, and defense, you want that interior, perimeter, lateral, offensive, defensive rebound. This build's going to be able to get, you know, crazy rebounds. The crazy vertical is going to help. Finishing, you're going to be able to get contact dunks, standing contact dunks, big man contact dunks. And one interesting thing, so if you upgrade the post hook, you can get post scoring takeover on this build. If you upgrade the close shot, you can get slashing takeover on this build. A lot of people want slashing takeover, just, you know, catching lobs, getting contact dunks, you know, basically looking good out there. So I would say close shot's where you want to go, but if you want to be like a mini post scorer with this build, if you want to, you know, if someone tries to switch and you just want to post hook the guard, you could definitely upgrade the post hook. Just know you won't get slashing takeover if you do the post hook. And you see with the playmaking, I mean, you get a lot of playmaking badges on this build too. You can get quick first step, you can get some, you know, all kinds of stuff to kind of be like a mobile big. A lot of bigs, they don't want the ball in their hands. They don't want to dribble and drive too much, you know, because they're going to get ripped. But this build's going to be able to do it. And with the height, you can go 6'8", 6'9", 6'8", probably if you play a lot of stage, play a lot of comp. But if you're just in the park, if you think you're going up against, and especially if you're playing rec, if you're going up against a lot of super tall centers, then go 6'9". You see the driving dunk is still an 88, standing dunk super high. You'll still get the contact dunks, all the contact dunks with this build, and the wingspan, that's going to bump it all the way up to a 94. So, like I said, you know, 88 rebound, 90 block, you can get slash and takeover, glass rim, or if you upgrade post hook, you can even get post scoring takeover, and you see it's called a glass cleaning finisher. Just a very dominant build on the offensive glass, on the defensive glass, on the offensive end, on the defensive end. The only bad part about this build is it can't shoot, of course, like most center builds can't on this game. So you have to play with somebody that can shoot. You know, you don't want to play with a, you know, Hall of Fame finishing, Hall of Fame playmaking build. They dot you with Hall of Fame dimer. And there's nothing you can do because you need to be in the paint. You need to play with players that can space the floor for you. And if you actually play with, say, like a pure sharp and a playmaking shot creator, and you can really be a force with this build. I mean, Hall of Fame contact, Hall of Fame slithery, all kinds of stuff. I have seen these glass cleaning finishers with the Hall of Fame finishing badges just run right at people, throw them to the ground. I mean, it's like people, they know you're coming to the paint, and they still cannot do anything about it. Showtime is actually a crazy badge too. I'm gonna have to make a video on that, but if you get a nice, you know, Showtime dunk, you're gonna boost your team's takeover. This build is just a build every playmaking shot creator, every outside point guard wants to play with. You see quick first step, like I was saying, you'll be able to really burst whenever you get the ball. If you can master that triple threat, I'm telling you guys, if you don't have high dribbling and you don't dribble, triple threading is a very effective move. And then, you know, Hall of Fame defense is Hall of Fame defense, you know. Everybody needs defense, you know, whether you're, you know, just trying to, you know, whether you play high-low, whether you switch, whether you play sides. Everyone's going to screen. You're going to have to help out on screens. You're going to have to be mobile, and this build is that. And finally, the best build in the game. It's called a paint beast. It's called a glass cleaning finisher. It all depends how you make it, but it is going to be the pure red pie chart. And the reason this build is so good is because, like the glass cleaning finisher before with Hall of Fame finishing, Hall of Fame defense, this build is an even better defender, an even more mobile big, and you still get contact dunks. Even though you don't have Hall of Fame finishing badges, you can still dunk all over people with this build. Now, what is the difference between making the build before this and this one? Really, like I said, it's just the defense. They both finish exactly the same now. You are going to get more contact dunks. You're going to be a little bit better at finishing with the Hall of Fame finishing badges, but it's not really noticeable enough. And what you can do is you can actually take some points and put it on your pass accuracy. Make sure you get that quick first step gold. Now you're quick, you know, if they start, you know, you're knocking people over with your screens, the big man goes out to the point guard, you know, have the quick first step gold, you have the guard on, you just run right past them, dunk on them, you're going to get slithery finisher so you can hop step. I mean, there's just no, the only weakness of this build is, you know, say you have too many non-shooters on your team and people are sitting in the paint. But if you have people on your team getting people out of the paint, you know, on defense, on offense, and then this build is going to destroy everybody. I mean, look at this. Everything is in the 80s, rebounding. And it gets even higher with the wingspan. Now the rebounding block, offensive rebounds in the 90s. You have an insane high steal on this. Glass cleaning takeover is better than rim protecting takeover. By far, you know, you don't need rim protecting takeover to get stops. Paint defense is very good this year. And like I said, it's called a glass cleaning finisher as well. Get compared to Anthony Davis. Hey man, if Anthony Davis couldn't shoot, that would be a pretty decent comparison. There's just no way to score when you're playing against a good pure red. I mean, imagine, you know, you're a guard, the dude gets hit with the screen, and boom, you have a pure red dude with 84 perimeter defense. He's 6'8", he's poking it. I mean, 30 defensive badges, Hall of Fame clamps all over you. I mean, what can you do? And at that point, you got to throw a lob, and then he's quick enough to get back down to the big. Very mobile, very, just very, I mean, what's the word? Very tough to play against, you know. If you're trying to chill, if you're playing twos, if you're playing threes, if you're playing rec, this build rules every mode. The only thing you don't want to play against is post scores on the 1v1, but even at that, you can still get contact dunks on him, you can get reverse dunks, you can still be effective playing the ones on this build. And I mean, I would say this is by far the most common build you see in NBA 2K21. Let me know what center build you guys have. You know, if you have any questions about any other builds, what you guys think is the meta. I mean, in NBA 2K21, at the time of making this video, the best meta really is to have a playmaking shot creator in this build. Whether you're playing 2s, whether you're playing 3s, you can pick and roll. The playmaking shot creator doesn't have to be the best player in the game. All he's got to do is get a good timing and the shot's usually going to get in. And if he misses, boom, you have 30 defensive badges, Hall of Fame rebound chaser. If you're going up against anybody that's not the same exact pure red as you, then you have the chance to get a rebound over them. I mean, if they try to, say you're up against a post scorer and you have this build, if they try to post you up, that's going to be unlocked. Say, you know, you have to switch up on the point guard, he's going to be locked. It's just crazy, and you see, you know, post playmaker, glass cleaning finisher, and finisher. I mean, there is a lot of effective builds, and you can, you know, it's tough because I know a lot of you guys are going to want to make builds that don't have Hall of Fame defense. But the simple truth is you're going to need the Hall of Fame defensive badges if you play at a competitive level. I mean, you're not going to see anybody really dominating with a center on the boards on the defensive end if they don't have Hall of Fame defense. And 90% of the time, you know, it's going to be one of the top two, the glass cleaning finisher with Hall of Fame finishing, or, you know, the glass cleaning finisher, the paint beast with Hall of Fame defense. Yeah, man. That's it for the video. 21 minutes long. Let me know if you guys made it all the way to the end. This is Tonic. Catch you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.